what drives me nuts is like for 12 years now, wait, no, 10 years now, we'll say, they have put everything against Trump. Everything in the playbook has been thrown at him. Everyone already knows that he is not a good person, that he's just done some really bad things. He's broken laws just like every other politician has. Yep. And they just keep escalating. And the results are always the same. It's like the definition of insanity at this point. Like, beat the guy on the issues, provide a better economic and social agenda for the American people than what he's saying. And I'm not saying he's going to do what he's saying, but there's a lot of stuff that he says that a lot of Americans are like, yeah, I would like inflation to go down. I remember cheaper gas prices. I would like us to have healthy food. I would like us to end the war in Ukraine. And at least he's got a little bit better rhetoric on what's going on with Israel and Palestine. But the Democrats just don't do that.
They can't.
The best parts of Kamala's campaign she never talked about. When she resorted back to calling Trump a fascist, I'm like, man, this tired playbook. They just keep dusting it off instead of building a economic agenda that works for the American people. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think, and now the retro is coming out, right? Oh, maybe Bernie was right. Mm-hmm. Maybe Bernie was right all along.
Yeah.
And maybe the people that were saying that in 2016 and to a lesser extent in 2020, maybe when the people were behind him, you should have listened to the fucking people. And now they go in and they get whacked, smashed, whatever.
I mean, come on.
Curb stomped by Trump. And everybody's like, I didn't see this coming. How did you not see this coming?
I mean, we all saw it coming, especially look, the coalition that the Democrats built too. You know, when you tell Arab and Muslim voters and anti-war protesters to sit down, shut up, boo, or I'm speaking, that's not going to work well. When you dismiss people who are calling for an open primary, a fair primary, or is that calling out Biden's mental health, you boo and dismiss them and kick them out. When you build walls around your convention center and have a mass, and I get it, you got to have police force and security.
And you were there on the ground, by the way. I was too at one point.
Jimmy Dore was there, Duke Dissidents, RBN. A lot of people I knew were there. And this is how you treat your people? No wonder you guys are failing miserably. And now the campaign, comma, $1 billion disaster that's also $20 million in debt. You had all celebrities, Hollywood, the media. You had all these institutions, and the people, the voters, gave it a middle finger. And while Chicago and Illinois were blue states, yes, I mean, not blue states, but at least blue. Sorry, Illinois state, Chicago being the city. Trump in Chicago alone got 22% of the vote. That's higher than what he got in 2016 and even in 2020. And there is a massive breaking apart of the coalition that Bernie Sanders built in 2016.
There is no coalition anymore.
The voting base that the Democrats had is gone. And then you have AOC going on social media. Hey, can you give me a list of who people are supporting for? Because she was talking to, or who they listen to, like, podcasts. And I'm like, AOC, okay, people were listening to Joe Rogan. Bernie Sanders went on Joe Rogan. And you got upset that Bernie Sanders went on Joe Rogan's show. Like, you were causing a hissy fit.
I remember that.
Yeah. Or wait a minute. Why are you asking for a list of people? Like, because she was surprised that people voted for her in her district. But when it came down to president, a lot of them also voted for Trump. So AOC, there's a reason why these things happen. And Democrats, there's a reason why these things happen is because you left your voting base. You told your people to shut up and just deal with it. Or you're not expecting people to go to sleep and eat their brunch. But when people can't afford gas, milk, eggs, or even rent, they're gonna react. And I said that the number one issue was the economy. So you asked what started this. You have Kamala being a failure in 2019. You have Biden being a senile man for 4 years, and that's being covered up by corporate media, Hollywood, Democrats.
Do you think they hung him out to dry in that debate? It happened early.
I
don't think they gave him any cocktail they did previously.
I don't know if they. Again, when we say cocktail, let's be clear. A lot of people, I've said this on my show too, saying that they had to give him some kind of brain juice for him to be cognitive, or either that be self-aware. I think there might have been a point, and this is just me projecting. I'm speculating here, no proof. So if you're asking my opinion, conspiracy theory time, tinfoil hat. I think there was a point where maybe the leadership was like, okay, we really can't win this. We get ready for 2028. We have Biden, who's too prideful. You have Kamala, who's miserable to work with. Let's just put in a fight. If we win, we win. If we lose, there's always next
That's
time.
what I think too.
And I think that's what happened. Then there's also reports that Biden purposely just let Kamala die as well. Because again, those two people, those two camps didn't like each other.
Yeah, and Nancy Pelosi. Well, she railroaded him in that one debate with that little girl was me in 2020, and then he committed himself to hiring a diverse woman for his vice president role. So he kind of locked himself in there. But what I thought was interesting that Pelosi said a couple of weeks or maybe days ago, where she said that Joe endorsed Kamala and he made that decision, and that's basically why they couldn't do a primary. And it makes me wonder if so. I'm putting an even bigger tinfoil hat on. Here's what I think might have happened. That Twitter post that Biden said he was resigning from the election and not going to participate, I don't think he put that out. I think that might have been put out without him knowing. And then they go to him and say, well, it's already out there. You don't really have a choice. So then he responded by immediately endorsing Kamala to say F you to the party. And now you're going to have to deal with this. So you're not going to get to run a primary. And you can't backtrack on who the president endorses if he's not running anymore. And so they kind of got stuck with it.
Yeah.
And we're, to your point, we're just like, I guess we'll see how this goes, but we're really going to be looking forward to 2028. That's total tinfoil hat. I have no proof. It's just kind of my observation of what happened.
It wouldn't surprise me because what would he say, especially when you brought up that lawsuit case in 2016? The Democratic Party is a private institution. It's a private entity, and they can make their own decisions. And because of the way they set up their laws, they shot themselves purposely in the foot. I mean, this is what they. But it was already even too late to even do a primary because now you have to introduce a whole sway of candidates who are in the race now. Okay, who do we vote for? There's going to be such massive confusion. There was no clear idea.
And to open that up, it would have been harder to hold a narrative if they wanted Gavin Newsom or even if they went with Kamala or whatever.
Yeah.
It would have been hard to hold a narrative when everybody jumped back in.
And I think in many ways, probably Kamala's happy that she's not the president. You know, I don't mean to be projecting this, but it's just like she was a terrible vice president. She did
nothing.
And the thing is, she had lower approval ratings than Biden. And if this hurts people's feelings, look at the polling data. Somehow she was absolutely incredible during the time she was running as a campaign. But during the last 3.5 years, wait a minute, she's the worst VP ever. Her approval rating is lower than Biden. There's talks about her hemorrhaging her staff members. She had like 47 people with her and only like 3 or 4 of them remained. That means 43 or 42 people left her.
It's like 90% turnover.
Yeah, like either one, she's really high demanding and you got to be fast paced, or 2, she's terrible to work with. And I think that's the mother. She's terrible to work with.
Yeah, I wonder too. One of the things that I think the Democratic and I know we're coming up on time. I want to be respectful of your time.
That's all good.
I had 2 other things I wanted to ask you. I think that the Democratic Party, and I remember talking to my friends who are like casual Democrats, and they were like, "Oh, like I'm glad Biden's out. I don't know how I feel about Kamala." And I think it was because they manufactured in the media joy, if you will. And then I remember telling people, I'm like, as soon as she starts talking, you're going to remember why you don't like her. And again, I'm saying that objectively. I'm not saying that because I'm pro-Trump. Objectively, she started talking and her support started dwindling and people were less excited and the joy went away. And what happened at the same time was Trump's doing McDonald's. Trump's driving around in a garbage truck. And I got to tell you, like Biden, the joy fades, and then Trump, more iconic photos, waving out the drive-through, doing a press conference from the Trump Vance garbage truck. Like this is great. It's entertaining, but this is like great politics. And what was she doing? She was not doing anything to relate to the American people. And I think that what I'm curious about with your take, and this is really what I wanted to get into, is will the Democrats learn anything from this? Will we get Gavin Newsom or someone? Because there's no bench. There is no bench in the Democratic Party.
There could have been. There could have been a bench.
Yes.
But my answer is no way. No, they're doubling down on it because
they'll learn nothing.
Mark my words. I'll make this prediction on your show. All right. I made this prediction on my show too. in the midterm election cycle, guess what all the Democratic candidates who are running for Senate and House are going to focus on? Impeaching Trump. Impeaching. That's going to be their number one thing they're going to run on. They're going to be talking about impeachment of Trump, or is that sending Trump to jail, doing something
Little
of that
catnip.
nature.
Little catnip to the liberals.
It is that is going to be the thing they're going to run on, impeaching him. They are not going to learn their lesson. There was a bench originally. Look, I had high hopes for the squad, but I mean, they could have been great. There could have been a bench, but Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats, the old guard there, the Clintons, the Obamas, all of that. They're making it clear that it's their way how they run the show. It's their way how they run the election. It's their way who they pick as their nominees and who on how the party's going to be run. And this is an extinction level event for the Democratic Party because Nancy Pelosi is now seeking re-election at 84 years old. Look, she's done enough insider
She's got
trading.
some more insider trading to do.
Yeah. She's done plenty of that. So to answer your question, Nick, no, Democrats haven't learned their lesson. And look, you and I made this prediction on my show today, actually. You and I are going to be in a battleground state. And when I mean battleground, we are looking at what the midterms are going to do. You already have Governor J.B. Pritzker wanting to instigate a fight with the new border czar, Tom Homan. And then also you have an ever-rising anti-Democrat movement happening on the south and west side neighborhoods of Chicago against Mayor Brandon Johnson. Not only will we have the midterm election cycle, but seeing how a lot of these districts in Chicago also got more Trump votes than before.
It was alarming, actually. It was higher than I would have ever thought.
22% in the city, 22%. That's pretty big. And I don't want anyone to say, well, that's low numbers. Well, because the reason why those numbers may not be too high is because, again, Chicago politics, it's not that, especially when you hear conservatives or Trumpers who say, oh, Chicago's a communist utopia. You voted for this. No, voter engagement in Chicago is at an abysmal low. But the fact that you have an alternative conservative Trump-leaning voice here happening, it also tells you that there's an independent voice rising here in Chicago. So that means the city elections, it is game on. It will be a referendum against Mayor Brandon Johnson and his policies and the city council, which thank God they actually dismissed that raising of the property taxes. My God.
Yeah, I know. That was... I supported Brandon Johnson. I feel like he's in over his head. But the fact that he almost lost to Paul Vallis, who is a Trump-supporting, should be a Republican, like that said a lot to me. That wasn't a 80% victory.
There's a reason why Paul Vallis didn't run as a Republican. Do you know about Chicago? Do you know that big old secret about the Democratic machine here in Chicago?
I mean, I know there's a machine. I don't know if I know this specifically.
All right. I gotta get the person on my show win more detail about this, but here it is. Technically, anyone who's running for mayor, you're running as an independent, right? But then you got to carry the D, wrap it around your neck, have it on your shoulder, hold it in your hand. You got to carry the D. That's why Paul Vallis was a Democrat. You don't have to be a Democrat to run for Chicago politics, but you will become one. You will become one.
That's the machine.
The machine will take you, and so. It is fascinating what could potentially happen in the city. I'm excited for it. I know. So see, when I raise my excitement levels, and I go, wait a minute, Kit, lower your expectations. But who knows? With this attempted recall against Brandon Johnson, with Governor J.B. Pritzker now saying that Illinois is going to be a frontline state, politics should be not the most important, but it will be very interesting to cover here for the midterm in 2026 and the city election in 2027. And we'll be here, and I'm pretty sure you and I are going to be talking about it. And if my prediction is true about how voters are feeling in Chicago, maybe we could see potential high turnout this time around against the Democrat machine and destroying the legacy that was created by Old Man Daley many, many decades ago.
Ugh, it's been nonstop.
Yeah. So
what I think, sorry to go back to 2028, what I think is going to happen is I think they're going to repackage AOC as a progressive and either run her or run someone like Newsom and have her be the VP, because they're going to try and repackage the same old shit, I think, but in a nice progressive package that is, really part of the establishment and try to capture that young vote. That's what I think is going to happen. But I cannot imagine losing to Trump twice, almost 3 times. And by the way,
I want to
the
make.
other thing I was thinking, I was like, if we would have just let him win in 2020, we'd be done with him.
I'm going to make
But
a
now we
long
get
shot
12 years of
prediction.
him.
I'm going to make
Yeah.
a long shot prediction, just to make people laugh or be like, oh, here we go again, or how long will we go through this? Once Trump's done as president, one of his kids is going to run for president in 2020. So that way, the Democrats still have to face off against a Trump.
I totally agree
like
with
if
that.
Donald Trump Jr. does that and chooses to throw his hat in the ring and say, "Hey, I'm going to run for president," it'll be funny. Honestly,
it will be funny.
It'll be funny, but it's just like, okay, Democrats facing off against another Trump now. Here we go again.
Oh my God. It's never ending. Thank you for listening to this clip from the full episode of Eyes Wide Open. Please like and subscribe for daily clips and new episodes that drop every Tuesday. I appreciate you.